We are talking about Ask and It Is Given, Learning to Manifest Your Desires by Esther and Jerry Hicks. Let's say you're a single guy and your dream is to have an amazing wife, a child, a beautiful house, and a sweet car. Of course, it's going to take a pretty great job to afford all of this. A couple years pass and your situation has improved. According to your standards, you should be happy. Now you have the wife, the kid, the house, the car, and even a better job than you imagined. But you're just as unhappy as you once were. This doesn't seem right. You got everything you thought you wanted. Esther and Jerry Hicks know what the problem is. They said, even when you have achieved everything on your current list of things that you desire, there will be another list, even longer and more expansive, to take its place. So you don't need more material possessions or different life circumstances. You need to redefine your standard of success. The Hicks say the standard of success in life is not the things or money. The standard of success is absolutely the amount of joy that you feel. So stop looking to outside circumstances to fulfill you and accept that true sustaining happiness is only found from within. This is a truth we will talk about time and time again, but I particularly like how the Hicks remind us to tune into ourselves. They say we have an emotional guidance system, and that system has two basic feelings, feeling good and feeling bad. So you have a new job, and the skill set
I remember, guys, this is a this is a summary of the book, but pay attention to this next part right here because we're gonna talk about it.
Required is well beneath your current abilities. You resent your lowly position even though it's a company you've always wanted to work for. You dread going to work because it's boring and mundane. You are being a fault finder and therefore you feel unhappy at work. Now, same job, and you're still overqualified, except this time you are more focused on the benefits. You appreciate that the work is easy because it's giving you an opportunity to get used to how things are ran there. And you know that there will be plenty of opportunities to demonstrate your skills. You are being a benefit finder, and you feel happy at work. Same person, same job, but two completely different outlooks. One version of you is thinking, I'm better than this, and so they are miserable, and the other version is saying, I'm going to make the best of this, and are pretty satisfied. Now, just because you're going to make the best of it doesn't mean you're giving up and you're just going to accept your lowly position, but you are going to enjoy it while you're there and look out for growth opportunities. Now, our thoughts.
So I think we all can relate to that, right? And particularly in my own life, just like, you guys probably may have saw that video I posted as far as going back to the job force after 5 years. I was so much in that same just that feeling bad versus feeling good spectrum of things. And I've read stuff like this. So like I'm more aware in my life, which I'm thankful to be able to be more aware because I understand that you control how you feel about your environment. It's not your environment that's the problem. Or if you feel like there's a problem that you have with internally, it's you that's the problem because ultimately it's your outlook on that environment. So like with my last place that I was just at when it came to like jobs or whatever, when I first got there, it was a feeling good type thing. But then I got to the point where I was just feeling bad. It was like, I'm better than this. I'm tired of this type stuff. But I was aware of where I was at. And I was aware of me looking at the faults and all that kind of stuff. Because when I first got there, I was aware that I was a benefit finder from the standpoint of you're looking at the glass half full. You're looking at it like, this isn't my stage of life forever. Like, this isn't my stage of life forever. But this is my life where I'm at right now. So maybe that's you right now on your way to work, heading to work right now. You know what I'm saying? You like, man, I'm tired of doing whatever I'm doing. I'm so cold. I'm tired of doing whatever I'm doing, waking up, you know what I'm saying, doing this job or doing whatever you're doing. Are you a benefit finder or are you a fault finder, right? Because at one point, whatever you're doing right now, you may have liked it, right? So it may not have been your dream job. It may not be the thing that you were happy about mostly, but at the same time, it was something at one point when you first started it, it was at least new to you. So you at least felt good that you had something new because ultimately, if it was just to have a paycheck coming in, you did that job for a reason. You're in the position that you are right now, listening to this, tuning in, wherever you at. You're in that position ultimately for a reason, and most of that reason is because you decided to be in wherever you're at. So it's like, why not just make the most of it? Because ultimately, you only got two options. You're either gonna feel good or feel bad. So if feeling bad is because you're thinking that you're above your current circumstances, then find a different way to think yourself out of your circumstances without feeling bad. You can feel good, like, hey, I'm making the best of it. I know that I can do this. It's easy. It's easy for me to do, but this is giving me time to think about, either how I'm gonna work my way out of the situation or how I'll make the most of the situation as far as like how I'll become the best at what I'm doing. So I just feel like that's something that, living in the social media era, living in the time that we live in, a lot of people can sit back and feel like they're better than something, or feel like, why am I doing this, or why am I, especially if you just like at a job. Like, I know that feeling, like you just at a job and you're just scrolling and you're just looking at stuff. I'm not a big like I'm getting better as far as like managing my social media, but I'm not a big like consumer of social media, if that makes sense. Like, I've a long time ago I just stopped with social media from the standpoint of consuming it. So I don't really consume it as much. Like, my big thing is like posting on it. So that being said, with me like posting on it, my consumption comes from my YouTube mainly. So like, I do watch YouTube. That's like the number one. That is the biggest social media site. I didn't even know YouTube was a social media site, but that's a different story for a different day, bro. Let's get back into this. But keep in mind, like I said, the biggest thing is that you have the choice to feel good or feel bad about your situation. Your situation does not determine your feelings. It's your feelings that determine your situation, because it determines the outlook on your situation. So it may not change your situation just because you feel good about it immediately, but the more you feel good, the more prone you are to change your situation into something that aligns with your natural feeling state. And if your natural frequency is good and feeling good, then your surroundings have to align with your natural frequency, which is that to make you feel more good. If you're feeling bad, then your natural frequency is going to be lower. So you're going to attract more events and circumstances that align with that natural state, which is one that feels bad. It's just something to think about. It's really you that controls it.
Are going to enjoy it while you're there and look out for growth opportunities. Now, our thoughts and our feelings are bi-directional. What we focus our attention on matters. You are either focused on your desires and what you want in your life and how you're going to create it, or the lack and absence of those desires in your life. Let's look at the contrast and you see which thought will help you fulfill your desires. If you are trying to lose weight, which is more helpful? I'm making healthy changes, or I am fat. How about in school? I'm learning, or I'm stupid. Or looking for a partner. The right man is out there, I just haven't met him yet, or all men are pigs. Think of your
So right there, it's like we we think about our goals, but we have to ask ourselves how we think about our goals, right? Are we bringing ourselves closer to our goals by thinking about it? Or are we bringing ourselves further away from our goals by thinking about it? That's the biggest thing here. They give you way, if you, like I said, the book is amazing. It's Asking and It's Giving. They give you like a way bigger breakdown, but it just helped me reframe the way I think about things, right? Because I get into my mindset of like, bro, I want this, I want this, I want this. Why don't I have it yet? Right? Because we all can get into that. Like, I want this, why don't I have it yet? But when you're thinking like that, then you're actually just making yourself feel worse, and you're bringing yourself further away from actually attaining it. So if you think about, man, I want this, I want this, want this, I'm so excited to get that. I'm so much closer than I was yesterday or last year. I'm so excited that I'm closer than I was to get these things. I can't wait to have these things in my life. When you're thinking like that, that's a completely different attraction, right? If you're thinking on the scale, a level of attraction, the higher you get on that scale as far as feeling good, the more you're attracting the things that you want into your life. So if you're getting excited about the things that you want and about your goals, about your aspirations, then you're actually bringing those goals and aspirations closer to you. But if you're getting upset about your lack of having these things, right? So on the screen, you see, if you're getting upset thinking like I'm fat, but like you're not even thinking like I'm healthy, I'm making healthy changes in my life, that's two different things. If you're looking at yourself in the mirror, you're like, man, I'm fat. If you're looking at yourself in the mirror, like, I'm so happy I'm making these changes, that's a different type of feeling. So it's going to attract a different result. That's the biggest thing to keep in mind.
The right man is out there, I just haven't met him yet, or all men are pigs. Think of your thoughts like a radio station. If your favorite radio station is 93.7, but you are tuned into 101.5, you can't hear what's playing on 93.7. If you're focused on everything that's wrong with
that frequency, like we talked about,
your life, yet you desperately want to be happy, you just can't be as long as you continue to focus on the lack and absence of all your desires. The Hicks say you are a vibrational transmitter, and you are broadcasting your signal in every moment of your existence. Every thought vibrates, every thought radiates a signal, and every thought attracts a matching signal back. We call that process the law of attraction. It is important to understand emotional set points. So set points are long-held beliefs about a particular subject, and anytime we are exposed to that subject, we have a default mood. So if I invite you to my house to meet my new pet Harry, you may nearly run out of my living room screaming when you meet Harry the spider. Now, had it been Harry the dog, though, and you would have been delighted. We have an emotional set point in most areas of our life, and some of them are there to protect us, like our fear of poisonous spiders. But many of our set points actually hurt us. Take finances. Do you believe that the rich are greedy and money doesn't grow on trees, and relationships are supposed to be hard work and marriage isn't easy? Virtually everyone has deep-seated beliefs that don't serve them anymore, and you need to understand it will take time to change your emotional set points. You don't just jump into a car and expect to immediately arrive at your destination. You know two things. Number one, it takes time to get from point A to point B, and you also know that you need to know where you're going. You might not know how to get there, but you definitely need to know where you want to go. Sometimes you will get lost. The GPS doesn't give up on you. It just says rerouting. So don't give up on yourself. When you're driving, you don't get halfway to point B and say, oh, forget it. There's so much unexpected traffic and it's taking longer than I thought, so I'm just going to turn around and go home. All you need to do is make sure that you are focused and your attention is tuned into the right signal.
Get to stepping. Oh.
What you want to create in your life, and then you can enjoy the journey. So let's go over some tips. Number one is pivoting. Pivoting is catching your negative mood, recognizing the thoughts associated with it, and then deliberately pivoting your focus to what you do want instead of what you don't want. It is reaching for a better feeling thought. I don't want to be sick turns into I want to be healthy. The house is a disaster turns into a clean house is important to me. Thinking is just the first step.
They said the better it gets, the better it gets.
Positive thoughts turn into positive actions. And a great way to pivot is using the appreciation game, which is tip number 2. So let's say you're paying your electricity bill, but you would rather use that money elsewhere. You're stressed out about money, but you need to shift your focus. Be grateful you have money to pay the electricity bill in the first place, and think about all the wonderful benefits of electricity. You still have a money problem, and that needs to be addressed. You can't just stick a happy face sticker on your issues and expect that they'll go away. Yet focusing on how everything is going wrong isn't going to make it better. Playing the appreciation game elevates your mood, which elevates your problem-solving skills. Tip 3 is segment intending. Every shift in focus and or activities is a new segment. If you're talking to a friend in person and then your attention is shifted to your phone, you just entered a new segment. We want to make sure that our segment shifts are intentional and we have an expectation for the next segment. The Hicks call it pre-paving. So if you're about to have a difficult conversation with your partner, rather than just jumping in and getting into an outright fight while you're trying to prove your point, utilize segment intending and set the expectation that what you really want is to have a respectful resolution to the issue, and your first priority is just to understand each other. So that is it for asking it is given. Let's end.
All right, so let's wrap it up
with a quote. If you want things to change to different things, you must think different thoughts, and that simply requires finding unfamiliar ways of approaching familiar subjects.
Love that. If you want things to change to different things, you must think different thoughts. And that simply requires finding unfamiliar ways of approaching familiar subjects. I was having a hard time reading it. But so the segment intending one is a really good one. All of those different things that she went through is like they break down like how to do these things in the book. But that segment intending one is a really good one because it talks about how you are basically everything that we do is a different segment, and it's like begin with the end in mind. So if you approach, they gave the example of a conversation with like your partner or something. Given that example, it's like have the end in mind, what you imagine the end to be like. That way you're not just sitting there going back and forth. And it's like the same thing with anything that you do, like whether you're about to go and do a phone call or whatever you're about to do in your life, begin with the end in mind. That way you don't get lost in the muddy of things, right? Like you get lost in the middle of things because you start getting back and forth. You don't know what you want out of this conversation. So if you don't know what you want out of a conversation, then it's so easy just to get lost in the conversation itself because you don't even know what you want in it. So now anything somebody says, you're just going back and forth, back and forth. So before you switch and before you go into a conversation, begin with the end in mind. It's like if you're going somewhere, right? Most of the time I go somewhere, I have an idea on when I'm going to leave. Most of the time, unless I'm just going and I'm like, let's just have fun. But most of the time I go somewhere, I have an idea on when I'm going to leave. Some people ain't like that. They go somewhere, they just go and they shop and they're just there and they're just there for forever, right? But I'm the kind of person, I go somewhere, I have an idea on when I'm leaving. It's the same thing with anything you do in life. You want to have an idea on how you want this to end before you start it, because then you can just get lost in time and time waits on no man. But If you want things to change to different things, you must think different thoughts. And that simply requires finding unfamiliar ways of approaching familiar subjects.
Thank you so much for
That is so true, because I don't know if y'all saw this thing. I remember back in school, they used to have this thing called like it's like emotions create feelings, right? So like whatever emotions have, your emotions create your feeling, then your feeling create your thoughts, and then your thoughts create your action. And when you think about that, it makes sense, right? Because like you're when you feel something, you feel happy, you start thinking about how happy you are. You start thinking about all the reasons you're happy. You start getting excited about being more happy. When you're not, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. Please hit a like for the algorithm, you know what I'm saying? Get us boosted up. But when you are having that feeling or those thoughts, when you're in a state of, a happy feeling creates happy thoughts. Those thoughts create actions that make you feel more happy, right? And that's just like the channel of how it goes. So if you're in a state of, doing something that makes you feel bad, or you thinking something that makes you feel bad, or you're feeling bad, then you're going to start thinking of thoughts that make you feel worse. And then ultimately your actions are going to either make you feel worse or relieve those negative thoughts. If you cry or something like that, that's your outpour of the negative energy. But if you hold it all in, that's why some people crash out, right? They hold all this negative energy in, and to the point that they just crash out. So it's like the only way you really can change your life is by really thinking different thoughts. Because when you think these different thoughts, then you're putting yourself in a position to be able to have different actions and different outcomes in life. So that's just something to think about. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Hit a like for the algorithm. Let's go ahead and get